This evening is a wonderful opportunity to celebrate our university, and even more to celebrate you. To celebrate you and to thank you for valuing and supporting all that we do in teaching and research. But I begin, of course, by acknowledging that we do meet on the land of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, by paying my respects to elders past and present. It's right that we do that here in Sydney Cove, where Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal communities first lived together. I wonder if you know the story of the 19th century landowner Maria Locke. She was daughter of Yarramundi and daughter-in-law of Bennelong. In 1819, she came first in the New South Wales Anniversary School Examination out of 100 non-Aboriginal and 20 Aboriginal students. As a university, we want to celebrate stories of Aboriginal educational success. In our strategy for Indigenous education, we're committed not only to building respect and understanding for Indigenous knowledge, but also to seeing Indigenous students flourish. Last year, we graduated 77 Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students. We didn't quite make twice the group of 8 average, but we did make 4 times more than some of them. 1 in 4 Aboriginal graduates in Australia attended the University of Sydney. I love words, which is lucky because I graduated from the University of Sydney in English, Italian and law. It was a great education. This place has a remarkable tradition in law and the humanities. Now, next week, our performance in the prestigious QS World Rankings will be announced. It's currently embargoed, so I can't tell you the details, but I can tell you that for the subjects I studied, we're placed in the very top handful of the universities in the world, and for several others as well, but I'm less interested in them. I just don't love words, though. I love the way they're used. I love their creative power. I particularly love the way that they grow and the concepts they express change and develop as they moved from one language to another. When the ancient Greeks needed to express the Hebrew idea of ruach, breath, as spirit, they chose the parallel word pneuma. The early Latin translators of the Greek New Testament struggled to express the same idea, and so they talked about spiritus, breath, as the equivalent of our spirit. The Latin inspirare means not only to breathe into, but also to inflame. When the same idea comes to be translated into Chinese, you get qi fa, or open up and send out. You didn't come to a university dinner not to get a lecture of some sort. Well, our campaign is called Inspired, and it's called Inspired because it captures the vitality, the breath, the spiritus of this extraordinary institution. We want to inflame, we want to kindle in our students a passion for learning. We want to open up and send out new understandings of our world, new ways of solving problems that can only be addressed with the remarkable intellectual resources of our institution. A university that studies the largest range of disciplines of any in the country, with 75% of them ranked as above or well above world standard. We inspire our students. We inspire our students, whatever their social or cultural background, to reach their highest potential and to strive for excellence. Well, you can follow the stories on our news feed every week. This week, for example, there was a report of 3 of our IT students who've won the Microsoft Asian Cup for their phone app that helps diabetics manage their condition. The 3 are in India right now to demonstrate their invention at the annual forum of the Board of Governors of the Asian Development Bank. Last week's stories covered a PhD student working on a vaccine to prevent epithelial cancers, and they account for about 85% of all types. She's just been selected for an exclusive forum in Germany that brings the young scientists of the highest potential together with Nobel Prize winners in their field. Another recent story focused on the 4 of our students who made a clean sweep of this year's Gates Foundation scholarships. Of course, the Sydney students also won the New South Wales and Australia Rhodes scholarships this year. I was disappointed that another recent story on this year's Fulbrights didn't mention that 6 of this year's 8 New South Wales scholars are either students, staff, or alumni at the university. The supervisor of one of them, incidentally, has been identified on a global search as doing the work in quantum computing most likely radically to change that field. Well, I didn't mention that stuff about the Fulbrights because that's just business as usual at the University of Sydney. It's our regular news feed. Inspiring students to excellence is what we do every day. Of course, our research is also, by any measure, inspirational. You'll have been given a sample of the quality of our work from the researchers at your table this evening, and I could inspire you all night with examples. Huge possibilities for innovation are opening up as we break down the barriers between faculties and disciplines and remember what it means to be a university. Remember what it means to be a place where the disciplines can mix with one another in new and exciting ways, investing in multidisciplinary collaborations on a significant scale. Perhaps the most celebrated example is our new Charles Perkins Centre. Just part of that centre is to be housed in a $400 million home, bringing together everyone from philosophers to microbiologists intent on meeting a significant global health crisis. The University News feed tells this week of research from the centre in collaboration with Harvard University that's leading to elastic patches, but elastic patches for hearts that have been weakened. Another of this week's stories from the centre I found particularly encouraging as somebody who loves the humble potato chip. It was entitled, "Mouse Study Provides New Clue to Staying Skinny on a High-Fat Diet." The best part of my job is that I am routinely inspired. I collect stories like a grandma collects brag books. I'm inspired by the extraordinary work that our researchers do to advance understanding and to solve the problems of our country and our world. Well, in our turn, the university is itself inspired. We're inspired by the communities we serve and by their willingness to partner with us in research and teaching across many fields and also in field work. We're inspired by the generosity of our founders. The work of Julia Horn and Geoffrey Sherrington shows that philanthropy has, with the exception of a relatively brief period after the Second World War, been essential to the development of the university. And we're inspired by the vision of our contemporary philanthropists. We're inspired by each of the 28,000 campaign donors that we've seen already since the campaign began its quiet phase in 2008. Each of those 28,000 campaign donors understands the importance of the university's work. Your faith in what we do, expressed in rapidly increasing numbers, encourages us to keep going. By the end of 2013, we expect to have 58% more donors than we did in 2008. This evening, it's important to acknowledge those who've already made significant contributions to the campaign. Alongside the gifts announced this evening, lifetime gifts of more than $3 million during the relevant period have been made by inspiring individuals and foundations. John Grill's $20 million gift is still the largest gift by a living Australian to the university. Judith and David Coffey, Warren Halloran, Michael Hinser, John and Maria Teresa Hook, the family of Dr. Charles Warman, the Australian Diabetes Council, Robert and Susan Maple Brown, Greg Poach, Thomas Wenkart, and the well-known Anonymous, these have all made transformational gifts in areas of their passion and our excellence. And that's the combination we need. The campaign total to date, including the gifts announced this evening, is $321 million. Look, this university of ours is by any measure a remarkable institution. But it's risen to its current stature on a remarkable combination, a powerful combination of both public and private support. If we're to remain world-class, And if we're to become firmly established as the premier institution of our region, then private partnership in our work becomes ever more vital. We can expect the government to fund a good university. To be a great university, we need to partner with our community. The fact that so many people understand that to be the case is both humbling and inspiring. Well, now comes the big reveal, as they keep calling it. In a moment, the lights will dim, a drum will roll, and a large number, our campaign goal, the biggest in the history of Australian university fundraising, will appear in lights outside the quadrangle. And I hope that you'll all be impressed and that you'll break into spontaneous and unprompted applause. But I don't want you to be impressed by a number. I don't want you to be impressed by a number. It's just a number after all, however much Adam Spencer may love them. I want you to be impressed by the very many students, teachers, and researchers whose work it will be support. And more than that, I want you to imagine how we can together train great leaders. I want you to imagine how we can together create the next generation of people who are going to not only lead our country, but our region and our world. And I want you to imagine, too, how we can together unravel the mysteries that fascinate and perplex and challenge us. That's what this is all about. It's about making a difference and training bright minds. So lights, please. Drum roll. Hey, what happened to the unprompted applause? So, ladies and gentlemen, can I ask you to raise your glasses in a toast to the university and to the campaign for Sydney? Thanks very much. Thanks very much.